Hi, I'm John Crawford. I'm bald, I'm blind, and I'm back. So it was suggested to me that I do a video about my experiences at the Tennessee School for the Blind. I talk about it quite a lot. I thought I would tell you a little bit more about it. There's so much to talk about in the 4.5 years that I spent out there and some of the things that I did that I couldn't possibly cover it all. But I thought in this video, I would talk a little bit about how I got to the school and what it was like when I first got there, and a little bit about some of my general experiences. I'm not going to take you all the way from 8th grade all the way through graduation, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about my first impressions and some stuff that I did when I was there. So it was 1984, and as I said in one of my previous videos, I went to my parents because my vision was starting to really affect my schoolwork, and it was becoming very obvious that I couldn't keep up with everybody else in the class. And now we kind of knew why. I had been to several eye doctors, and they knew I was legally blind, and we were just trying to navigate all of that. So I told my parents, look, I'm getting scared because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm not going to be able to find my classes when I get to the high school. Even if I do, I'm not going to be able to keep up. The work's going to be really hard. My mom and dad started searching around, and it was suggested to them that I attend the Tennessee School for the Blind. So in November of 1984, I went out there for a visit, and they showed me all the fun stuff. Like they actually had a bowling alley at that time. I think that bowling alley still works. And they had a swimming pool, and they had pool tables in the dormitories, and it looked like, well, like I said, they showed me the fun stuff. And then they showed me the music practice rooms, and they showed me the classrooms and the library and all of that stuff. And we liked the look of it, so my parents made application, and in January, I was taken to the school for my first day of school. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it kind of panned out for the first little bit. I was there from the second half of 8th grade all the way through my senior year, and I graduated high school there. So I had 4.5 years out there. When I got out there, initially I was thinking this is going to be like going off to college. I'm all excited. I got my bags packed, and I'm going to be a big guy now. I'm going to live away from home and all of that. What I didn't account for when I first got there was the homesickness. I just wasn't ready for that. And at 14 years old, I'm used to being home with my family and all of that. Now I'm in a dormitory. No, it was not horrible or anything like that. It was actually okay. There were some pretty cool house parents out there. I mean, there's always nice ones and always not so nice ones, but the house parents that I had were pretty cool. But I wanted to be home. And so my first couple of years out there, my first full couple of years, I spent a lot of time thinking about going home, and that's all I thought about. It was hard for me to concentrate on my schoolwork and my studies in that first year and a half or so because of the fact that from Sunday night when I went back to school all the way up till Friday morning, all I was thinking about was going home. And my parents were pretty cool. I was picked up on Friday afternoon after school, and then I was dropped off back. I got to stay home for a couple of days, and then I'd come back to school on Sunday evening. One thing I'll talk about there, because this is a very strong memory I have. I remember I was always in such a good mood on Fridays, and Sunday was the worst. I would get home on Friday evening. I was all happy. Sunday morning, we got up. I went to church with my family, and then I came home. Mom made me a big dinner. I had to pack my bags, and I had to go back to school, and I was miserable the whole time. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I just want to stay home. Even though in November, I was really excited to go out there because I just wasn't ready for the homesickness. That was really the worst part of it because the overall experience was pretty positive. When I got there, when they showed me around, they showed me the large print books and the braille and all of the other accessible materials. And I was actually pretty relieved about that because I was thinking, okay, I'm going to be able to at least go to school like a normal kid and, get some kind of an education. That's a lot to think about when you're in the 8th grade, but that's kind of where it was at for me. We had 13 buildings on that campus. That campus was pretty huge. And another struggle that I had when I first got there was finding everything. It took me, let's just say that the first probably couple of months I spent mostly just following everybody else to get where I needed to go. It took me a couple of weeks just to figure out how to get around in the main classroom building. And some of you TSB guys out there who are watching, yeah, it took me a couple of weeks to get used to the main building. But once I got used to everything, I was fine. It did take me a couple of months to figure out my way all the way around campus because there were 13 buildings and there was a lot we could do. We had a main classroom building, we had a gym, we had a full clinic, we had several dormitories, we had a horticulture building. We actually had horticulture and stuff, and we had a shop, which was a wood shop and an electronics shop and all that kind of stuff. So we had a lot of stuff we could do out there. We had a lot of opportunities, but there was a lot to take in. By the time I was going home for the summer and the end of my 8th grade year, when I came in for the second half, actually, I was pretty used to things and I was able to get around pretty good. There was even at that time a program that was available for high school students that if there was a class that was not offered at TSB, you could take it at McGavock High School. And we had a resource teacher who would drive us to McGavock, and we would take certain courses, and then we would come back to TSB to take the rest of our courses. So we had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of really cool things when we were out there, and I feel like the experience was overall positive. Oh yes, I know kids like to complain about school and all of that, but I've made some lifelong friends that I still talk to today, and I learned a lot of things that I might have missed out on otherwise. Those were kind of my first impressions of being at the Tennessee School for the Blind and kind of an overview of what it was like, especially in the outset. If you'd like to hear more about that, please let me know in the comment section and I'll talk more about it. Or if you have questions about it, please let me know, because I will say this, one more thing, I'll close with this. The Tennessee School for the Blind in the 1980s was a very different environment, and the campus was altogether different. They have renovated and done a lot of things to it over the years, but the Tennessee School for the Blind was a very different academic and adaptive environment than it is today. I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying that they have a different kind of a method to how they do things now than they did then. But it has always been a good school, and I feel like I had a really positive experience. All right, like I said, though, if you guys have got questions about it, or you'd like me to talk more about it, and especially if there's anything specific, let me know in the comment section. And also a shout out to our friend here on Blind Talk, Michelle. She has started a Discord server called Blind Perspectives, and I have the link to it. She's got the link in her channel bio. I'm such a nerd on TikTok, I have not figured out how to put things in my bio yet, but I have the link stored on my device. If anybody wants to know how to find that, hit me up in the DMs or whatever, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.